The Last Light in the Darkest Hour, a journey of resilience and hope. Welcome to Life Tells Stories. Today, we're bringing you a story that could change the way you see life's greatest challenges. A story of true courage and resilience titled, The Last Light in the Darkest Hour. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever faced a moment in life where everything seemed lost, where the darkness threatened to swallow any hope you had left? If so, you are not alone, and this video is for you. Together, we'll explore a powerful journey of resilience that will remind you why giving up should never be an option. If you find this story meaningful, please support our channel by subscribing and liking this video. It helps us reach more people who need the inspiration only real stories like these can provide. Meet Emma. Emma had always been the kind of person who could handle anything life threw at her, until everything came crashing down at once. She lost her job unexpectedly, and within weeks, her husband Alex became critically ill. Emma found herself drowning in medical bills, debt piling up, and her once orderly life felt like it was unraveling faster than she could keep up. The darkness around her seemed endless, and every step forward required superhuman effort. Now let's dive deep into Emma's emotional landscape. How she felt lost, scared, and utterly alone. She spent countless sleepless nights, eyes red from tears, wondering if things would ever get better. The walls of their small home seemed to close in on her as each day passed without any progress. Her fears multiplied. How would she provide for her two young children, Lucas and Mia? How would she keep going when everything seemed so hopeless? However, amidst the darkness, Emma started to see small glimmers of hope. One day, while sitting at the hospital, she overheard a nurse talking to another patient about a community support group. This was the first seed of something different, the faintest hope that maybe, just maybe, she didn't have to do this all on her own. And that tiny glimmer became the start of her journey against all odds, where she began to understand that true resilience often begins in the places that feel utterly impossible. Emma knew that things needed to change, but she wasn't sure where to start. She had always been independent, and asking for help felt foreign and uncomfortable. But one thing she realized was that she needed to believe in herself again. No one else could take that step for her. Emma decided to start small. Each morning, she would get out of bed and say to herself, "I am capable of handling today." She started to set small, achievable goals, like making breakfast for her children, going for a walk, or filling out a job application. Despite the overwhelming self-doubt that constantly tried to convince her she was useless, Emma chose to take action. She embraced the small victories, even if they seemed trivial to others. Getting out of bed became a triumph. Managing to smile at Lucas and Mia felt like a victory, and slowly but surely, her belief in herself began to grow. One day, Emma decided to visit the community support group she'd overheard the nurse mention. It took every ounce of her courage to walk through those doors, but when she did, she was met with smiles and people who understood what it was like to feel broken. Emma learned that self-belief didn't have to mean feeling confident all the time. It meant deciding to take action despite being afraid. Hope often appears in the smallest, most unexpected places. For Emma, it came in the form of a new friend she met at the support group, Margaret. Margaret was a kind, elderly woman with a warm smile and a gentle way of listening. Margaret shared her own story of loss and recovery, and for the first time in what felt like forever, Emma found herself feeling comforted. Margaret's story gave Emma hope that life could get better, even if it looked different from before. Margaret became a beacon of support, encouraging Emma to keep going. She invited Emma and her children over for dinner, and it was during those simple moments, sharing a meal, listening to stories, that Emma found herself experiencing the tiniest flickers of joy again. Hope didn't come in a grand form. It was present in those quiet moments, reminding Emma that life still held beauty, even in its imperfection. Emma began to look for those small moments of hope everywhere, in her children's laughter, in the warmth of the sun during her walks, and in the quiet strength of people like Margaret. It was these small rays of hope that kept her going, one day at a time. Resilience often doesn't come from within alone. It also comes from the relationships that support us. Emma had always been the type to try to solve problems on her own. But as she spent more time with the community support group, she realized how powerful it was to lean on others. Margaret wasn't the only person who made a difference. There was also Jason, a single father who had gone through his own struggles, and Maria, a young woman who had faced homelessness. They each brought their own unique stories and experiences, and they all shared one common bond. They knew what it was like to face the darkest of times. Through their shared experiences, Emma began to find strength in vulnerability. She learned that asking for help wasn't a sign of weakness, but rather an act of immense courage. The community group became her lifeline. When Alex's condition worsened, it was Jason who offered to babysit Lucas and Mia so Emma could be with her husband. When she needed someone to talk to, Maria was there with a listening ear. Emma slowly realized that resilience isn't just an individual journey. It's one that is strengthened by the love and support of others. After months of struggle, Emma found herself wondering how she could make something meaningful out of the pain she had endured. She thought about all the sleepless nights, the constant fear, and the small victories that had brought her to where she was. And she realized that she wanted to help others who were facing similar battles. Emma began volunteering at the community center where her support group met. She started sharing her story with others, first in small settings and then to larger groups. She talked about the moments she thought she couldn't go on, and the tiny flickers of hope that made all the difference. She spoke about how it was okay to be vulnerable, and how asking for help had changed her life. One day, Margaret told Emma that her story had inspired a new member of the group to keep fighting, and that was when Emma realized that her pain had a purpose. It wasn't just about her own survival anymore. It was about helping others find their light, even in the darkest moments. Emma found strength in knowing that her experiences could be a source of hope for someone else. Emma's journey was far from over. There were still days when getting out of bed felt impossible, when the weight of everything she had endured threatened to pull her under. These were the unseen battles, the moments that no one else saw, the private struggles that she faced behind closed doors. But Emma had learned to recognize these moments for what they were, acts of courage. She no longer berated herself for struggling. She celebrated the fact that she was still here, still fighting. She knew that resilience wasn't about never feeling weak. It was about acknowledging the pain and choosing to move forward anyway. Emma's unseen battles were often fought in the quiet moments, late at night, when she felt overwhelmed by loneliness, or in the early hours of the morning, when the thought of facing another day seemed too much. She had learned to be gentle with herself, to take things one step at a time, and to recognize that even the smallest victories mattered. Failure had become a familiar feeling for Emma. There were many times when she tried and didn't succeed. Job interviews that didn't lead to offers, days when she felt too tired to function, moments when she let herself down. But over time, she learned to see failure not as an endpoint, but as a stepping stone. One day, Emma finally got a call back from a company she had applied to. The interview didn't go as planned, and she didn't get the job. Initially, she felt devastated, like all her hard work had been for nothing. But then she remembered something Margaret had told her. Sometimes, falling is just part of the dance. Emma realized that each failure was an opportunity to learn and grow. Emma began to embrace the concept of failing forward. She understood that the setbacks she faced were not the end of her journey, but part of it. She continued to apply for jobs, to put herself out there, and to try, even when she was scared of failing. Each time she fell, she got back up, and each time, she grew a little stronger. The pivotal moment came one winter evening. Alex's condition had taken a turn for the worse, and Emma found herself sitting by his hospital bed, holding his hand as he struggled to breathe. The weight of everything seemed unbearable, and Emma felt herself breaking. She wanted to give up, to let the darkness swallow her whole. But then she looked at Alex, saw the faint smile on his face despite the pain, and she knew she couldn't give up. She remembered Lucas and Mia waiting for her at home, and she knew she had to keep fighting. For them, for Alex, and for herself. In that moment, she found the last light in the darkest hour. The strength to keep going, even when everything seemed lost. Emma took a deep breath, squeezed Alex's hand, and whispered, "We're going to be okay." It wasn't a promise that everything would be perfect, but it was a promise that she would keep fighting, no matter what. If you have ever experienced a moment like this, where you found light despite the darkness, we would love to hear your story in the comments below. Your story could inspire someone else who needs it. After Alex's passing, Emma's life changed in countless ways. She was no longer the same person she had been before, but that didn't mean her life couldn't still be beautiful. Emma began to embrace the changes that came with her new reality. She found a new job, one that allowed her to provide for her children, while still having time to be with them. She moved to a smaller home, one that felt cozier and more manageable. Emma also found new hobbies. She took up painting, something she had always wanted to do, but never had time for. She started taking Lucas and Mia on weekend hikes, exploring the beauty of nature and finding joy in the simple moments. Life wasn't perfect, but it was full of new beginnings, and Emma learned to find beauty in the present, rather than longing for what was lost. Resilience is not a destination, it's a journey, and it's one that deserves to be celebrated. Emma took time to reflect on how far she had come. She thought about the sleepless nights, the overwhelming fear, and the countless moments when she thought she couldn't go on. She thought about the friends she had made, the community that had supported her, and the courage it had taken to keep going. Emma knew that her journey was far from over, but she also knew that she had already come so far. She had survived, she had grown, and she had found joy in the midst of pain. And that was something worth celebrating. Emma gathered her children, Lucas and Mia, and together they made a list of all the things they were grateful for, all the small victories, all the moments of love and laughter, all the times they had found light in the darkness. Resilience is a lifelong process, full of beauty, growth, and moments worth cherishing. Emma's journey is a reminder that no matter where we are, we all have reasons to celebrate our resilience. We all face darkness at times, but remember, the darkest hour is just before dawn, and even the smallest light can make all the difference. In sharing these stories of resilience and courage, we hope that you see your own capacity for strength, even in the face of the hardest challenges. Life is full of battles, but it's also full of light, hope, and the incredible potential for growth. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. If you found value in these stories, please consider subscribing to Life Tells Stories and liking this video. It helps us share these messages of hope with more people who need them. We also love hearing your thoughts, so please feel free to comment below. Your voice matters, and your story can inspire others. Until next time, stay courageous, stay resilient, and remember that no matter how dark it gets, there is always a light worth finding. Thank you for watching. Take care, and we'll see you in the next chapter of Life Tells Stories.